Doesn't that look delicious? Ooh. Oh yeah, tongue tacos today on Big Lou BBQ. Hey, welcome to Big Lou BBQ. The things I want to do. I'm going to be making tacos de lengua. You know, lengua, it's Spanish for tongue. Comes from the Latin for tongue. You know, that's where we get the word language from, right? And anyway, yeah, because, you know, that's the language teacher in me right there. All right. Anyway, I got two of these beef tongues. These come from some, these are, I guess, rather small ones. These are, doesn't have the weight on them, but they're processed, you can see, that's my hometown, y'all. These are local beef from two local steers. They're not real big. I would say they're small, maybe on the medium small side. You can get much, much bigger ones than these. Anyway, we're gonna be making tacos out of them, all right? Now, there's 3 steps to this. I'm sorry, I just set them back down on the table where the tripod is. If the camera shook, that's what happened. All right, gonna make in my Discada, that's the English word I use for it. The Discada, if I'm speaking Spanish, I call it a disco. Sometimes call it a cowboy wok. It's a plow disc, you know, that we make food in, and I love to use it, all right? Mine came from Southwest Disc. We make it in the Discada, and I'm gonna do all 3 stages. There's really needs to be 3 stages to doing this. You see the skin right there? That's tough. Okay, and you don't want to eat that, so you got to get it off. Now you can cut it off while it's still fresh, but you might lose some of the flesh. But if you cook it a little bit, the skin will just peel off and you'll have all your meat there, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to steam it. That's the first process. And after we steam it, we're going to peel the skin off. We're going to slice it, all right? I'm just going to peel the skin off, slice it, and I'm going to put it down in the Discada and braise it. That is to boil it or stew it in some liquid, some water, and some of this Heath Riles beef rub with some other seasonings and stuff. All right, and then after we stew it and it gets soft, I'm gonna take it out. I'm gonna chop it up into cubes, and it might pull into strings if I cook it that long. All right, and then we're going to fry it and get it kind of crispy in the Discada and make tacos with it. We're gonna use the garlic jalapeno rub from Heath Riles at that time. Look, I've got links to Heath Riles down below. I am an affiliate. If you want to purchase these rubs through that link, you can. If not, you can make beef tacos with whatever kind of rubs or seasonings you like, but I'm telling you what, it's gonna be good with this Heath Riles stuff. It's gonna be good that way. All right, not that it won't be good your way, but it's gonna be good this way. All right, thanks for watching Big Lou BBQ. Let's get started. All right, the first step is the steaming process. Now, I did just coat this with oil after cleaning it, so you can see it kind of glistening there in the sunshine. It is a hot, late June day. We're right in the middle of summertime here, and I've got a good bit of water right there. Some of that water is going to boil out. Anyway, probably shouldn't have put quite that much in there at this stage, but that's okay. I'm going to throw in half an onion cut in half again. So in other words, 2/4 of onion, a couple bay leaves, all right, a couple celery tops, and a couple garlic pods. I left the skins on them, but I kind of cut them with a knife right there so that, you know, good garlic flavor leaks out into this water. Because what's left of this broth here is going to be my braising liquid, part of my braising liquid. All right. I'll put those right down there like that, and I'm gonna set that right there. That'll kind of go down on those onions a little bit as the water boils out, because the onions will kind of get soft. All right, so I'm gonna bring that to a boil. We're gonna start the tongues on there. Let's cut these out the package, just like that. And I'm just gonna set it right there. Look at that! Isn't that a beautiful piece of meat to make tacos out of? I know if it grosses you out, go away. Go away. It's beautiful. All right, both tongues are on the rack above the water. They're gonna begin to steam. I'm gonna put the cover on just like that. All right, and I'm gonna let them steam probably 45 minutes to an hour, probably not a full hour. All right, they've been steaming about 20 minutes or so. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more water. All I gotta do really is just lift up the cover like that. Pour in a little bit more water. And if I think it's getting dry again, I'll add more water. If you want to peek at them, looks like that. All right, the first cooking stage of this process is pretty much done. They've been on approximately 45 minutes or so. They're not cooked like they should, but you can tell that they're tough. All right, and you can see that skin's starting to pull away. All right, So I'm gonna go ahead and bring these inside, and I'm gonna pull the skin off and cut them up inside because the temperature out here is in the mid 90s and the humidity's in the lower 80s or low 90s, and it's hot in South Louisiana on this June day. Okay, so here we are inside, and this is what they look like. A lot of the skin has turned white. I didn't check the temperature on them, but they're not ready to eat. They're still tough. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just start cutting the skin off like this. Just make a line down there right through the tongue, and then start just kind of peeling it off. I only got one glove, so, but you see it does come off pretty easy. You see that? And that is a tough, especially the part that's gray, the part that the beast would, I mean, that's, you don't want to eat that, all right? So anyway, as you can see, I'm gonna pull all the skin off of both of these, and then I'll show you how I cut them up. You can see how easy it comes off now that it's steamed, right? Just gonna keep pulling and pulling and pulling all the areas that have skin on it. All right, this one was the first one you saw me do, and the skin did peel off of that quite easily. For the most part right there, I got a little bit left I need to get off. But if there's little places, sometimes you might want to be able to grab it with a paper towel, and like you do a membrane on ribs. And some places you kind of got to cut. And I cut this part right there. You can see the grain in the meat. And what I did is I just took this little boning knife and I kind of filleted it off of there. And so as you can see, you know, just got the little pieces that I cut off. All right, so what we're going to do to cut this up is I'm going to start here at the back end. The reason is back end is the part that was attached to the, you know, to the steer, right? There could be a piece of cartilage back here depending on how close the butcher trimmed it from the steer. It'll be a cartilage or bony part right back here. And also this area here has some fatty parts in it. This area up here has almost no fat. Let me show you. You see? It's pretty much cooked through, but it's not tender yet, but there is no fat in that, all right? So, but what I want to do is start slicing right like this. And if there's large areas, most of the fat's been cut off of this one. That's some fat right there. But just want to kind of slice it like this right here, okay? I don't see that cartilage part either. All right, I'm probably gonna cut that fat right off of there. By the way, what I did with the dog skin, well, that's not a lot of fat right there. I could use that, I guess. What I did with the dog skin, I mean the tongue skin, is I treated my dogs to it. They chew on rawhide bones, they can chew on that. All right, and I'm just gonna kind of slice it into slices about like that, all right? I'm gonna do the same thing with the other one and be right back with you. All right, now that I've got them cut up into slices like this, all right, for the most part, they're not quite even, but that's okay. Some of these will probably get as tender as they shred. Some of them will be where I need to chop them. I'm gonna go ahead and hit them with the Heath Riles beef rub on both sides, all sides, everything. Just gonna coat them like this and let them sit there while I chop up a few vegetables to go in the braising liquid. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn them over. Do the same thing on both sides, Heath Riles beef rub. All right, back out of the Discada now. That is the liquid from which I use to steam it with. It's still quite warm out here in this summer sunshine. Didn't take that long, and that grill pan was even still hot. Now I've got onion and garlic, and I've got celery stuff in there already. What I did is I chopped up some tomatoes and sliced up some jalapenos. I just kind of rough cubed the tomatoes and put the jalapenos in there. I need to tell you something about the tomatoes and jalapenos in just a moment. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put those in that water. I'm gonna go ahead and dump all this tongue meat. Get all that good beef rub in there off of this platter. Looks like I'm gonna have to add more water to this. But we want to start braising this down. Braising is like boiling it halfway where maybe the top's not completely submerged, you know? And get it to soften up and really begin to loosen up here, all right? So I'm gonna add a little bit more liquid and get that off of there. So here's the way I'm gonna get the liquid off of there. And add more liquid, get the rub off of there and add more liquid to my Discada. Just like that. All right. Now, I'm assuming Heath Riles rub has some red chilies in it. It does say paprika, and that's red chili enough for me. Whenever you're doing some cooking, especially Mexican or Latin American type cooking, all right, and you use green chilies and red chilies, they can produce a bitter flavor, but what'll take that bitter flavor out is some acid. There's a lot of acid in the tomatoes. You can add vinegar if you want, but I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh squeezed lime juice. That's right, fresh squeezed right out of the plastic container. All right, now I got the lime juice in there. Cover it up. I got it on medium heat or so, and not gonna boil it too fast, but I'm gonna let that simmer for at least another hour until I can tell the meat is beginning to fall apart. Oops, I almost forgot. I want to add some Worcestershire sauce, and yes, I say Worcestershire as in rhyming with New Hampshire. Some people say Shire as in rhyming with tire. That's about all the Worcestershire sauce I got. Add some Tabasco sauce, all right? No, it's made in Louisiana, but it's named after a state in Mexico. Add some Tabasco sauce to that liquid. And we're gonna sit there and let that braise, cover it up for about an hour. If I need more liquid, I will add it. Get back in there, bay leaf. Okay, this tongue meat has been in this water, braising, boiling, stewing, whatever you want. And even with this rubber spatula here, you see I can cut it, so I know it's getting kind of soft. I could go a little further till it's, you know, stringy enough to pull, but you see I could just cut it like that. So I'm not sure the exact time, but it's somewhere between 90 minutes and an hour and 45 minutes I've been braising this here and simmering this in this stew stock. So what we're gonna do, time to get it out. So I wanna get the meat out, and I'm gonna separate it from the rest of the vegetables. I'm gonna let it cool enough so I can chop it. And I'm gonna dispose of all this liquid and the rest of it. I guess I could strain it and keep the broth to make a soup or something, but I'm not gonna do that today. I don't have time for that. I don't even have time to make my own tortillas. I'm using store-bought tortillas, and I'm using jarred salsa verde, but I did make up some pico de gallo earlier when this was steaming and stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get these meat pieces out just like that, and I'll meet you inside. You know what? I forgot, I got one of these Discadas that doesn't have a lip on it, just so that I can rake what I want to over the side. So get all the meat pieces out like that. And then I think that's all the little meat pieces too. Now I'm gonna turn it off and get rid of, dispose of all of it. All right, here it is, and as you can see, it's pretty tender, okay? So it's just kind of falling apart like that, and that's good. I'm gonna chop what can be chopped and shred what can be shredded. It's still quite warm, it hasn't been too long, but I did go ahead and dump out that broth. It had tomatoes and lime juice, and I want to get those acidic ingredients out of my carbon steel Discada as soon as I'm through cooking with it. And so I dumped it out, I wiped it out, I washed it out, I dried it off, and I re-seasoned it. I did not heat it back up yet because it's out there staring in the bright sun on this 98-degree summer day, and it was already still warm. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pick each piece up with a paper towel, and I'm gonna kind of pat it dry and wipe off any vegetable matter from the tomatoes, the onions, the jalapenos, and the garlic, and whatever else was in there. And I'm gonna put it on the cutting board, all right? So get another piece going here, just like that. I'm gonna get it all done off camera, but just kind of want to show you what I'm doing. It's still a little bit warm, but I didn't dilly-dally getting that stuff out of my Discada. And I'm gonna get my knife. I'm just gonna start chopping, sort of across the grain here, as you know. All right, and just gonna start chopping it like this. What shred will shred, what chops, chops, all right? And I'll show it to you when it's all cut up, you know, and it is fairly doggone tender right now. I could go ahead and make the tacos with this, but we wanna fry it and get it crispy. I got it all diced up. Now I did taste a little bit of it, just a little chunk about like that while I was dicing it up, and it is absolutely delicious, but it doesn't have the texture we want for tacos. It's got a good, nice, mushy texture. If it was in a stew, a gravy, a soup, something like that, it's fine. But for tacos, we want a crispy texture. So I'm gonna add the Heath Riles garlic jalapeno rub, one of the most popular rubs in the country and seasonings in the country right now. This stuff is really, really good. I'll have a link down below if you want some of it. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just stir in another little bit of this to this. And I might go one more again. Yeah, one more again, all right? Let's do another one more again. All right, and then we're going out to the Discada for the third cooking process. It doesn't need to be cooked, but it needs to get crispy. So we're going to fry it a little bit. All right, so I got this griddle heating up, and I'm going to go ahead and put some corn tortillas down because tacos are made for corn tortillas. Flour tortillas are for burritos, and the only kind of taco that's acceptable for flour tortillas is a fajita. Anyway, I've got some masa and a tortilla press inside, but I don't have time to make my own tortillas today. So these are grocery store tortillas. And I'm gonna heat them up right here on this Discada. And I'm gonna put them in my makeshift tortillera, which is simply a cast iron skillet with a lid on it. All right, my tortillas are done. Now what this is some lard. I've had it out in the sun, so it's not solid anymore. I'd like to tell you it's tallow, but I've got a real little bit of tallow left in the fridge and not enough to fry up this stuff. So this is lard, manteca. You could use bacon grease if you wanted to, or any cooking oil of your choice. All right, we're just gonna get that in there. This process, I'm not gonna edit it unless I say something wrong. We're just gonna get this all crispy, and then we'll be ready for some tacos. Start frying that up just like that. You see how it's starting to brown right there? You're gonna kind of get some brownness on it. Yep, so we take it from being tough to tender, and we take it from tender to being crispy. Most people, restaurants and taco stands don't do this final step to get it crispy, but I think it's real important for the texture of the tacos. Of course, if you crock potted this, you could use a skillet, a griddle, or anything else just to sear it up and get it crispy. All right, we're at 3 minutes and 20 seconds, and I think this is about as crispy as I want it to be. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my fire, get my pot holders, and bring the Discada inside because it's too hot to eat out here, yeah. We're talking 98 degrees, y'all. Let's try that one more again. Otra vez. Yeah, we're done. 3 minutes, 41 seconds, what it says on the camera. You'll see a lot of that scene sped up. All right, earlier today while those tongues were steaming, I made some homemade pico de gallo by chopping up some onions, tomatoes, jalapenos, added some cilantro, and added a little lime juice, salt, and pepper. And that's gonna be good on these tacos. All right, so I brought the Discada inside to my kitchen counter, which is under the trivet right there. This Southwest disc is beautiful for doing that. Let's say you bring your big bad Blackstone inside, huh? All right, it's time to serve up these tacos, man. All right, I've got some salsa verde in a jar. It's the La Costeña brand, but it doesn't matter. I just didn't feel like making my own. I'm gonna go ahead and take this corn tortilla so my kids don't have to do it. You know what they say. Tortillas para mamá, tortillas para papá, what is it? Tortillas para papá, tortillas para mamá, tortillas para papá, las bonitas para papá, las quemaditas para mamá. There you go. It's tongue twister in Spanish, right? All right, basically that means mama gets the burn ones, but since mama's gone, I'm the did the cooking. I'll take the corn one, right? All right, it's right there. Spoon some of this pico on it. I'll probably put some salsa verde on some of this other ones, but right now, that's my taco for the taste test, baby. All right, it's hot outside, y'all. It is hot, so we're eating this taco inside. I chew's easy too. Let me chew to be right back. That tongue meat, it's got such a deep beef flavor anyway. It's enhanced by the jalapenos and tomatoes that we put in the sauce and the other bay leaves and everything, onions, everything that was in there. And the braising liquid, it had that flavor. Well, good morning, and I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the next morning. Look, it was a long process to cook that tough piece of meat down to get it tender and crispy, all right, and make those tacos. So during the taste test, yeah, my phone battery died. You know, I'm just a fella having fun with food fire and a phone camera. Nothing fancy here, all right? Anyway, got a little bit left. Yeah, not much this morning. Just about maybe 2 or 3 tacos left. And the only reason it's left is because we ran out of tortilla shells yesterday. It was just my son and I eating. Now, if I had more tortilla shells, I might make breakfast tacos, put this with some eggs or something. But you know what? I'm probably gonna put it with some eggs and make an omelet with this lengua. Anyway, look, the Heath Riles rubs, made it good, gave it a good beef flavor in that braise. And then the garlic jalapeno rub, one of the most popular rubs in the country right now, just fantastic. And so it had a great little jalapeno flavor to it, but not too hot, you know. And I'll tell you what, it's really delicious. Look, it's a long process because it's a tough piece of meat, you know. But nobody ever said a brisket ain't worth it, right? Well, maybe some people have, but if they like to barbecue, they have it, you know, and a brisket's a tough piece of meat, and it takes a long process to cook it down. Well, so does beef tongue, right? You gotta, you can boil it or steam it first to get the skin off of it. Then you gotta braise it once you chop it up, and then to get it tender, all right? And then you got to to get a good texture for tacos, you gotta fry it. That third step doesn't take long, just 3 minutes or so to fry it, but it's good. Look, if you don't have a Discada, you can do this in a Dutch oven on your stove or in a skillet on your stove. You don't have to have the Discada to do it, but if you want a Discada, I'm gonna leave a link below to Southwest Disc. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I purchased my Discada. Look, Southwest Disc, I just think they make the best in the industry, all right? And they make them out of real plow discs that have not been drilled through the center. They start with new ones, right? And they're not, you know, something that's fabricated to look like a plow disc made in China or something like that. The guys, you know, American made. So I'm gonna leave a link down below just out of courtesy. I get nothing from that or anything like that. But the Heath Riles BBQ rubs, I'm affiliated with it. If you'd like to get you some and you'd like to purchase it online, I'd appreciate you purchasing it through my links below. That helps out the channel just a little bit. Hey, thanks for watching Big Lou Barbecue. I tell you what, those tongue tacos are great. I know it was about a 5-hour process, all right, because I started around 11, but I was making a video at the time. But I started around 11, just cleaning up my disc a little bit and filming the intro and stuff like that, and they were ready around 5 p.m. If I wasn't videoing, maybe it'd have been about a 4-hour process, but it takes a little while to steam it, get the skin off, braise it, and then chop it up and then crisp it up by frying it. Hey, thanks for watching Big Lou Barbecue.